So, Volume of Sphere. Made this a long time ago. It was an art project where I wouldn't talk and just make video. And somewhat complicated to figure out what I'm trying to do. So, here's the narration. So anyway, I have a sphere here, of course, and it has a radius value of 5. I cut it open for the surface area. So here's the formula. Volume equals the area of the base times height, of course. And the base would be the circle. That would be the base shape that you need. So when you have area of a base, the area you need to find is of the circle. Of course, that's the origin story of a sphere. You have to have the circle part first. So the area of that circle is pi r squared, of course. And in my case, that would be the 5. I really wanted these videos to be just a sort of to show you where the formulas come from using, real life examples as opposed to just being purely theoretical. So anyway, area of the big base times height. So we're going to use the volume of a cylinder that the sphere fits right inside first. So the base would be the same because they're both built on the idea of a square. And then the height would just be the radius twice. So 5. Just keeps falling over. I probably should have shot this one first, but I don't always make the best decisions. So 5 and 5. Switch the camera around. This camera I don't even own anymore, it's so bad. This is years ago. But I'll let you watch me struggle. There you go, 5 and 5. Gives you 10. That's the distance. So that would be the height of the cylinder because the sphere fits right inside. 250 pi. Now that I have the volume of the cylinder, I'm going to make, there's the cylinder. I'm going to show you how they're related. So I'm going to put that inside. Just kind of plops in there without the outside being stuck to it. And I'll pour some water in. And that floated the sphere to the top of the cylinder. That's what the general idea of it. So now that water plus the softball filled up that whole cylinder. So really, the water itself that I had to add in was only about, more or less, about a third, and it would have been even tighter if I hadn't taken the leather off. It's about a third of the cylinder was water if I filled it all the way to the top. So that would mean that the sphere itself would be the other 2/3. So the first part is the sphere and so is the second part. So really what I'm trying to show here is that 2/3 of the entire cylinder is represented by the sphere. That's the overall goal out of 3 parts. The whole thing would be 3 out of 3, but to fill it all the way up, I take away that 1/3 that's the water, and I'm left with what's the sphere. So the sphere is 2/3 of the volume of the cylinder. And if you remember from before, I had the volume of that cylinder being base times height, which was pi r squared, and then 2 pi r, or sorry, 2r. So 2 radius, pi r squared. So now we have an extra radius, that'd be radius to the third, and I have the 2 there, and then I'm going to deal with the whole 2/3 thing, and then you'll see where the formula comes from. Pi r squared, and then the height was the 2 radii, and now I only want 2/3 of that total amount because the sphere was 2/3 of the cylinder. That's where all that came from. So the 2 and the 2 go together, and you end up with 4/3. The radius together, radius squared times radius, it can be raised to the third, and that whole thing is being divided by 3. So that's where the formula comes in for the volume of a sphere. It's based on the volume of a cylinder, or it can be. There's other ways you can figure it out. People have done a great job doing that, so check around. So I just went ahead and did 4 times 5 to the third power because that was my radius, and worked it all out, and I'll end up with my final answers. But that's it. Just wanted to kind of give you an idea using real life things, sort of where the volume formula comes from, or at least to show that it exists in the world outside of just theory. So about 166 2/3 pi. Or you want to put it in round to the nearest hundredths place or whatever, then you'd have to actually use the value for pi in your calculator, or just times 3.14 if you want to do a really simple version of it. But if the question says in terms of pi, you have to leave the pi in there and you don't multiply it out before you give your final answer. So that's it.